They haven't seen each other in 20 years.
I'm free to do what I want.
But tonight, they're returning to their hometown to finish the ultimate bar crawl.
What's up, guys? Erin Darling for CraveOnline. I'm here to talk to Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost to talk about The World's End. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, I prepared a little game for you guys.
Oh, that's good.
Because there was a moment in the movie I really appreciated that dealt with Alexandre Dumas in the Bible.
And we're back. Just like the Five Musketeers.
Three Musketeers, isn't it? Well, nobody knows how many there were, really, do they?
You know that The Three Musketeers is a fiction, right? Written by Alexandre Dumas.
A lot of people are saying that about the Bible these days.
What, that it was written by Alexandre Dumas?
Don't be daft, Steve. It was written by Jesus.
So the game for today is called God or Alexandre Dumas. I'm going to read a quote, and you're going to tell me who wrote it, okay?
Wow.
Did God write the Bible?
I don't know, but for the sake of this game, he did.
Of course he wrote it.
Yeah.
Right?
spent ages
Someone
on
did.
it. I think he wrote the first draft and then his editors helped him with the
And I
rest
think
of
that Alexander probably revised it, like
Yes.
later on, like way
Correct.
later.
It's actually written by J.K. Rowling.
First quote. Only a man who has felt ultimate despair is capable of feeling ultimate bliss.
That's Dumas.
Dumas?
You guys are good at this.
definitely-
Pure love and suspicion cannot dwell together. At the door where the latter enters, the former makes its exit.
God. That's Dumas.
Almost. Dumas.
It's too
Either-
it's too
it's
poetic to be God.
It's either God or Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice.
That's lovely and poetic. God's not that poetic. He's just like, I hate gays. Oh no, I don't hate gays.
Yeah, he kind of like gives a lot of orders, you
Yeah,
know? Doesn't
yeah.
really have a lot
You
of...
can't do that. Oh yeah, you can. That's God.
How about this? You also took the fine jewelry I gave you, the jewelry made of my gold and silver.
Oh, that's
you made
God.
them for yourself, male
boy.
idols, and engaged in prostitution with them.
So God.
God.
It's stilted. It's
It sounds
meaningless.
like something Audrina from the Hills might say.
I'd love if the next quote was like, take that, Cardinal Richelieu, on guard!
God.
Well, here's the last one. If God were suddenly condemned to live the life which he inflicted upon men, he would kill himself.
That is
Dumas.
Dumas.
Yes.
That is maximum Dumas.
You guys are so good at this
I
game.
don't believe it.
So The World's End is kind of like a great example of a boys' night out gone totally wrong.
Very
Absolutely.
wrong.
Have you guys had
totally
a night
right.
out that went wrong?
Oh, many nights.
Most of them.
Yeah. I can't remember a night that I've had out that went right, to be honest. They all end in sort of like at least a low-level violence, some blood, and a regret.
Especially if it's a pub crawl. If you're submitting yourself to a pub crawl, you're basically saying that I'm going to get completely trashed. And in fact, it's one of the reasons that we made a film that was like a boozy Armageddon, or Barmageddon, as Nick Frost said. It's because most of the words that are synonyms for drunk are around some kind of destruction, obliterated, annihilated, trashed, wasted. So it's basically not going to end well. It's going to end very messily.
So what was some of the inspiration behind the script?
We had the idea midway through the press tour for Hot Fuzz, actually, way back in 2007. We were on the road. We were in Wellington, flying to Sydney. And Edgar, you take over from here because you brought up the first Colonel.
I had done a pub crawl when I was 19, and it had gone very badly. And I had written a script about it when I was 21 called Crawl, and I never did anything with it. But then when we were doing the Hot Fuzz press tour, I thought, maybe there's something more interesting in the idea of adults trying to recapture their teenage years. And then also on top of that, we had made Hot Fuzz in my hometown. We shot it in my hometown. So I had the experience of going back home very, recently, and it was very vivid. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the two ideas kind of coalesced in this idea of guys going back to their hometown to recreate a pub crawl. And then the sci-fi element, I guess, is a manifestation of their worst fears, which for Simon's character, Gary King,
was a sense of alienation, and obviously if you take alienation, you take that to its literal conclusion, it's aliens. So, you go back to where you grew up and it always feels a bit strange. It looks the same, but it doesn't feel the same. And, things have changed, the high street's a little different, the people maybe don't recognize you. And we like the idea of that feeling being due to something ridiculous, like an invasion of alien robots, and that's kind of how the idea came about.
Well, what happened during this pub crawl that went so wrong?
I instigated it. It was my idea to do a pint in every pub in my hometown, which was a mile wide, had 15 pubs, and about the 6th pub, I got so wildly drunk that was the end of the crawl, and I kind of lost interest. And unlike the movie, they did not carry on without me. It just stopped dead. And then I got this stupid idea There was this girl that I was seeing at the time that I thought I would go and like sort of find her, even though she had told me and I'd forgotten that she was not in town that night. So I ended up accidentally waking up her mother, ringing on her doorbell as like a very, very, very drunk 19-year-old going, "Is Kate there?" And I think I actually fell asleep on her doorstep, and then she woke me up and said, "If you don't move, I have to call the police." Then running away, I ran through somebody's garden and I ran into a clothesline and knocked myself out. Eventually I got back to my friend's house and they were like, "Where have you been? It's 2:30. I said, "I was trying to find Kate."
So is 6 the longest that you've lasted in a pub crawl?
Yes.
He tried to recreate it a few years later and he managed 4. So but he's sort of
It's way
becoming worse and worse.
What's the longest you've lasted in a pub crawl?
Oh, I mean, I could go on indefinitely. Really?
Infinity and beyond.
Yeah, because you just taper it and cater toward what you need at the time. You know, if you're getting 4 through beer, then go on to spirits. You know, if you're starting to feel slow and sluggish, have a vodka and Red Bull. Pick yourself back up. Keep going. You know, if you need to go outside and make yourself vomit, then do that. Eat something. You know, just keep going.
You just
Don't
can't
ever
stop. What about you, Simon?
I think I might have drunk like 15 pints at a wedding once.
Oof.
Really?
Of Guinness at a wedding. I don't drink anymore though. I stopped drinking now, so I look back on that as utter folly. But when you're at
It
a
was
wedding,
a bit weird when you did it at your own wedding.
at my own wedding, that's how I got through the day.
Often you'll drink yourself sober at a wedding.
Yeah.
You know, you start at 1 in the afternoon and by 11 you think, why am I not slaughtered?
And also Guinness is like drinking meat. It's very high in protein and iron and stuff. So it's like eating a roast dinner. So
It's like a meal.
Yeah, it's a meal in itself. Weirdly, speaking of weddings, here's a fact for you. I had my first date with my wife in a pub. Do you know what that pub was?
No.
The World's End.
Really?
In Camden, a pub that we used to frequent quite a lot. We used to meet there before going to the cinema. Nick and I used to go there every Sunday. It was quite a significant pub in our lives, so it seems fitting that we should eventually make a film named after it.
Well, obviously you're not drinking real beer during the filming
How's
process.
that for a segue?
So I have to know, what is fake beer made out of? What's prop beer?
Water
Water.
with
Just water?
burnt sugar in it as colouring.
Yeah, and
then
cream soda for the foamy lid.
Wow. Is that good? Is that it's an interesting little water
bad. It was
cocktail
quite
there?
nice. You know, I think the thing.
It couldn't be anything else, could it?
No, I mean,
They
even
tried
if you have
originally-
low alcohol lager, there's still, if you have to drink 10 pints a day, there is still a placebo effect. And
Also, it still
if you-
tastes like lager.
But most of the time, whenever you don't see our legs, it means that we were catheterized. So we could just drink and drink and drink, and all the urine would just slop into a central sluice.
Which is the key to any real life hardcore pub crawl.
Keep it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the end of a really good day, if it had been like a great day, we'd pour it over Edgar's head.
Like he'd won the Heisman Trophy.
So this movie builds on a lot of thematic elements that you guys have established in previous work. So what do you think that fans of Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead are going to appreciate the most about The World's End?
I think they'll hopefully see it as a kind of continuation of what we started, really. You know, I mean, all these films exist by themselves. They aren't sequels to each other, but they are kind of related. They're like cousins. We like to think of them as, what do your Destiny's Child thing? Oh, I'll just go with the punchline.
You ruined it. I was going to say, we like to think of them. No, you've ruined it.
It's like saying, do that joke about the dog with no nose. How does he smell? Do that. or that you remember in Indiana
I was going to
Jones-
say, imagine that you haven't heard it. Imagine like you haven't heard it. It's like, imagine that the movies are like Kelly, Michelle, and Beyonce. They're all separately great singers, but together they are Destiny's Child, yeah?
Correct, thank you, Edgar. Or like, you know the Shankara stones from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
Uh-huh.
The 3 stones exist perfectly as separately, but if you put them together, they'll burn a hole in your back.
Are we accounting for the former members of Destiny's Child? I mean,
I know there's 2 more, isn't there?
like
Yeah.
Crystal and Mary Jane.
I haven't
We don't
counted
recognise
for
them.
We don't recognise them. I'm talking specifically about the Bootylicious phase.
But if you guys could go back and relive a night in your 20s, what night would it be and why?
I went to a festival called Tribal Gathering when I was 26. It was a dance-based festival in orbital London. I saw the Chemical Brothers live. It was an extraordinary night. We stayed up dancing all night long, and as the sun came up, we were still dancing. It was magical. I wouldn't mind going back and doing that one again.
Would you change anything though? Sounds like an
Not-
awesome night.
Not a damn thing. And as long as I could come back to now. I don't ever want to go back in time. I'm very happy where I am now. I look back on my past and think, good, well done, leave it as it is. But, you know, if for the sake of the question, yeah, I'd go back and visit that. That was fun.
Well, it's up Time Machine.
Oh my god, I love
Well,
that
you go
movie.
back and watch it again.
Yeah, I'd go back and watch Up Time Machine again.
For the first
That's what I
time.
do, yeah. Like it was the first time I saw it.
Yeah, it's never as good as the first time.
I'd like to go back to when I was 18. I'd like to go on a date with Joanne Dixon again and do it better.
What happened on that date?
I think he
Didn't
finished a
mess
bit
it
too
up,
soon. It all came to a close a little early, right, Edgar?
No. I just think I could have done better.
There are a lot of really rich, interesting characters in this movie. Besides the one that you play and the one that you play, what are your favorite characters?
Martin Freeman is fantastic as Oliver, and I can happily just watch him trying to steal scenes whenever he's not speaking. And Eddie Marzan, I think, as Peter is.
I like Paddy for me. Paddy's character.
Yeah.
Stephen. I think he's
Big soppy puppy dog.
Yeah, he's soppy and he wears his heart on his sleeve. And I've watched the film obviously a bunch of times, but most of it I'm kind of watching Paddy.
Rosamund Pike, who's just insanely brilliant and gorgeous, and well, I felt like we got our dream cast really. So it's one of those things where we couldn't possibly play favourites with them. You know, they're just we're very supported and very lucky to have them, I think.
Speaking of Rosamund, so she comes in, it's kind of like a boys' club.
Mm-hmm.
She's the only main female character. What was that like for her
took
coming
care of her.
in?
We
We
looked
did
after
take care of her, yeah.
It was like having 5 big brothers for her. We were filming in the UK in December at night time. It was very, very cold. We would gather Rosamund into the group of boys, let me give her what's called a penguin cuddle, where we'd stand in a circle, and then Rosamund would be in the middle of the circle, and we'd all close in so that
All our coats were.
would keep her warm.
Yeah.
And then we'd rotate anti-clockwise, and she would rotate clockwise, and we'd sing a little song that went and that would keep Rosamund warm.
Well, speaking of keeping warm, there's a lot of interesting stunt work happening in this movie, and I feel like you are running in every other scene.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, did you just take a look at the script and be like, all right, getting on a treadmill, you are just running the shit out of this.
Erin, that segue was
No.
incredible.
Yeah, it was like
Really good, the way you
Italian
pulled that.
caramel. No, not really. I mean, despite the fact I'm a big lump, I've also been fairly fit. So, and it doesn't bother me. I could run all night.
This has been the
For an hour.
most physically for an hour. The most physically demanding of, like, Shaun of the Dead. Hot Fuzz was more demanding physically than Shaun of the Dead, and The World's End is more demanding than Hot Fuzz. And we're older than we were then, obviously, you know. But it was really fun to make a film in our, to be in our early 40s and to be doing the most action we've ever done. You know, we were fighting all the time, running all the time. We were injured a lot of the time because our old bodies can't really put up with it. But it was gratifying, you know. When you get home and you feel like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And your wife has to kiss you on the bit that doesn't hurt.
Or me.
Like here.
Also, it's that thing that, despite what the film looks like, you never have to run more than 200 metres in any one pop. So, you run and then you recover on the way back and you do it like that,
What is the key to having a fight sequence where you don't spill your beer?
Don't spill your beer.
Well, that was very much in the spirit of sort of Jackie Chan and Buster Keaton. The way the fights were choreographed in the movie was so that we could do them. And so that the stunt, Brad Allen, who's our choreographer, he devised these fights and trained us up to do them so that the camera could see us doing them. And learning how to hold a pint and fight was part of my training, and it was a lot of fun. Also, how to throw a pint out of a pint and catch it back in the pint. That was really hard. I had a lot of wet wrists.
How do you guys think the world's really going to end, if not by robot aliens?
I don't think we're ready for that, Jelly.
No, I think, sorry, I have a proper answer for this scientific answer. It's either going to be a giant meteor strike, or in 3 billion years, our sun will die and envelop us as it goes into its red dwarf
Your
phase.
sun is going to die in 3 billion years.
Oh, come on, don't talk about that.
In 3 billion years.
Yeah, that's how it will happen.
I think it's
Or,
very...
or we F it up with
Yeah.
some terrible biological problem and it just dies.
I think that's likely.
I think that's the thing. I think the scientific answer is that the human race will F it up.
I think the thing is as well is that it's very arrogant and very human to say that the world will end when we leave it. It won't. When the world ends, that ball that we live on, that great big bit of granite in the sky that we live on, there's going to take a lot to destroy that. And it probably will be the sun burning out or a meteor strike, because we're going to go. We might go very soon, but the Earth's going to be here for a very long time.
Well, it's 3 billion years until the sun dies, is the estimates at this point, so we don't have to worry about moving yet, but
The
I would
only
start packing.
The only thing we know as a certainty is that American Idol will still be on.
The only way to survive the night is to make it all the way to the world's end.
Where are the others?
They're blending in.
Hello, I am a robot.
We're just 5 friends on a night out, having a good time.
The World's End.